99.9% of humanity is extinct, and the remaining survivors live 2,500 meters up while monsters roam below. In the near future, mysterious sinkholes began appearing across the planet, plunging major cities into chaos. From the depths of the earth, terrifying monsters emerged. Modern weapons proved ineffective. Bullets only slowed them down slightly, without inflicting serious damage. The monster's sole purpose was to wipe out humanity, leaving only a few survivors. The only refuge was on mountain peaks above 2,500 meters. 3 years later, in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, at an altitude of 2,360 meters, 140 meters below the safe zone, a young boy named Hunter ventures into the dangerous monster-infested area. Unafraid, he explores the rocky terrain and finds a spot at the edge of a cliff. Using binoculars, he observes a nearby settlement where survivors have taken shelter. Suddenly, Hunter hears a noise behind him. It's a monster known as the Reaper. Realizing the danger, he flees and climbs the mountain. The monster pursues him, but is unable to cross the 2,500-meter mark for unknown reasons. Forced to retreat, the Reaper stops just a few meters away. At the Lost Canyon Refuge, altitude 2,580 meters, Hunter returns to camp and tells his father, Will, what happened. The boy had assumed the monsters had fallen back asleep, and it was safe to descend, but Will had lied to protect him from the harsh reality. Will, a single father who lost his wife a year ago, will do anything to keep Hunter safe. He begs his son never to go below the safety line again. Hunter also has health issues. He requires daily inhalations, and an attack during an escape could leave him defenseless. Later, Will goes hunting with Katie, his late wife's best friend and the only person he fully trusts. During the hunt, Katie remains calm and takes a precise shot at a deer. She understands Hunter's need to explore. He craves companionship, but more than that, he still hopes to find his missing mother. She disappeared on this very trail a year ago. Soon, word spreads that a group of 5 survivors from a neighboring refuge went to a nearby city in search of food and supplies. None returned. This confirms the monsters are still hunting humans, and humanity is nearing extinction as resources dwindle. Meanwhile, Nina, a former scientist and physicist, conducts research, attempting to alter bullets using thermal and electrical treatments. She hopes to develop a weapon capable of penetrating the monster's protective armor. That night, Will struggles to sleep, haunted by visions of his late wife. Suddenly, he hears a sound. Hunter's inhaler filter has failed, and the boy is suffocating. Will quickly replaces it, calming Hunter down. To his dismay, it was the last filter. Without more, his son will die. The only way to get new ones is to descend into the city of Boulder, but it's far below the safety zone, and the journey is incredibly dangerous. Realizing he has no choice, Will spends all his free time with Hunter. Having already lost his mother, he doesn't want to be left alone. But Will knows he must do whatever it takes to save his son. That night, Hunter falls ill again, and the final filter breaks. Will saves his life with an emergency injection and realizes he can no longer delay. He must go. He visits Nina, proposing that she join him. A heavy drinker, Nina is skeptical. The journey takes at least 2 days one way and requires traveling through monster territory multiple times. Will, however, has devised a route that minimizes risk. He believes they only need to descend below 2,500 meters twice. He's confident they can reach the city with relative safety. Nina initially refuses. She barely survived her last trip and doesn't want to risk her life again. But Will reminds her that she feels responsible for his wife's death. That night, guilt and past trauma haunt Nina. She decides to help Will. She dismantles an old compass and turns it into a tracker that can detect monsters. Reapers emit a strong magnetic field, and the device will alert them if one is nearby. The next morning, Will and Nina prepare for the journey. They receive weapons and armor-piercing bullets, which will slow the monsters for a few precious seconds. Katie insists on joining them, determined to help find new filters for Hunter's inhaler. Their first destination is an abandoned ski resort. Will believes they can use the ski lift to travel faster, saving their energy for the journey ahead. The group passes the 2,500-meter mark. Nina talks about the tracker and promises to monitor the Reapers, though she knows it won't save them if an attack comes quickly. Descending slightly lower, they find a destroyed convoy of the U.S. Army. In the trunk of one of the vehicles, they manage to find bullets and a rocket launcher. Here, Nina and Katie argue. As they continue toward the resort, they notice how nature has flourished without humans. At the ski resort, the altitude is 2,322 meters. It will take at least 15 minutes to reach the safe zone on foot. Suddenly, Nina notices the tracker needle shaking and alerts the group that a monster is nearby. They see a red light flashing through the trees at the edge of the forest and realize a Reaper has spotted them. It's ready to hunt. Seeing a monster in person for the first time, a frightened Katie fires the rocket launcher, believing the explosion might harm the Reaper. The blast only angers the creature, causing it to charge at them. Meanwhile, Will changes the old battery, successfully starting the ski lift. As they ascend, Will and Nina shoot the monster in the head, hoping to slow it down. Katie climbs onto one of the lift's poles. As the lift passes beneath her, she jumps, but she's a second too late. Will grabs her hand just in time, preventing her from falling. The monster continues attacking the lift, causing violent vibrations. Eventually, Katie loses her grip and falls. Will and Nina jump down. Using the last of their strength, they manage to run to safety, narrowly avoiding the Reaper. That evening, the trio stays overnight in a resort cabin at an altitude of 2,520 meters. Traveling is too dangerous, and since no one has been here for a long time, the supplies of food and alcohol are untouched. This allows them to relax, drink, and discuss the origins of the monsters. Will suggests it could be divine punishment for humanity's failure to value life and resources. Katie sees it differently. She believes the Reapers have simply become the top predators, with humans reduced to prey. Nina, as a scientist, disagrees with both. She points out that while the monsters have wiped out nearly all humans, they haven't attacked animals, fish, or birds. In her view, the Reapers' sole purpose is the extermination of humanity, though the reason behind their cruelty remains a mystery. That night, Will struggles to sleep, haunted by memories of his late wife. A year ago, Tara had joined Nina's expedition for the same reason as Will, to retrieve filters for an inhaler. But she failed. The next morning, the trio heads for the mine, its entrance at an altitude of 2,510 meters. Will informs them that the mine stretches 3 kilometers long, and they are currently on level 9. To proceed, they must ascend to level 8, bringing them dangerously close to 2,503 meters above sea level, right into monster territory. Moreover, Will admits that the level is unstable and sinking. At one point, they will have to travel 21 meters at a height where monsters might be lurking. They know that the monsters have sensitive receptors that detect carbon dioxide. If they run, their CO2 output will increase rapidly, potentially attracting the Reapers. With no other choice, they carefully proceed through the mine. After covering some distance, the trio encounters a sealed door and realizes the path ahead is blocked. With no time to turn back, their only option is to descend to level 7, nearly a kilometer below the 2,500-meter mark. With no choice, they decide to proceed. As they continue their journey, they suddenly hear a suspicious sound. Dimming their flashlights, they spot a red beam. A monster is nearby. They try to retreat and climb back up, but the Reaper is too close and catches up. Forced to hide in a rock crevice, they hold their breath, knowing the creature's sensitive tentacles can detect carbon dioxide. After a tense moment, Will distracts the monster with a smoke grenade. Nina and Katie quickly clear rocks to open a passage forward. Thinking the exit to the next level is close, Katie rushes ahead. She stumbles right into the monster's path. It immediately pierces her chest with its tentacles and drags her away. Nina and Will grieve, but know they must keep moving before the creature returns. Moments later, Nina spots a ladder, allowing them to climb up and escape the mine. That evening, they reach a ranger station, where they find food, a place to sleep, and an old SUV. During dinner, Nina confesses that she joined the expedition to reach her old laboratory. She believes certain chemicals could be used to create bullets that, upon contact with the monster's electrified armor, would generate a voltage difference of millions of volts, causing an explosion. Will doubts such bullets can be made, but agrees to go to the lab after they find Hunter's inhaler filters. The next morning, they head to a town slightly above 1,800 meters. Their first stop is the local hospital, where they search through several rooms before reaching the 5th floor and finding the necessary supplies. However, they soon realize a monster is nearby. Attempting to flee, they are attacked by the Reaper's tentacles. They climb to the next floor, but the creature keeps pursuing them. At one point, it grabs Will, but Nina saves him with an axe. Desperate to slow the monster down, she uses a smoke screen, but Will comes up with a riskier plan. Asking Nina to hide, he waits for the monster to attack, then fires at nearby oxygen canisters. The resulting explosion sends the Reaper flying out of the window and crashing to the ground. Though they doubt the creature is dead, they now have time to reach the lab. At her laboratory, Nina tests her theory, treating a bullet with a special chemical compound while Will waits. As he looks around, he notices a family photo on her desk and realizes Nina has been drinking to cope with her loss. Nina resumes her experiments but fails repeatedly. She knows this may be her last chance to create an effective weapon. Resolute, she urges Will to leave and return to the safe zone, reminding him of his duty to his son and the inhaler filters he must deliver. She points out a spare car in the parking lot, promising to follow if she succeeds. Reluctantly, Will agrees and drives off. Focused on her work, Nina fails to notice the warning blip on the tracker, indicating a monster's approach. She tirelessly tests different chemical compounds, but each attempt fails. Finally, she realizes cobalt is the key. However, before she can test her theory, the monster attacks her from behind. Meanwhile, Will speeds toward the safe zone, but a flat tire causes him to crash. Regaining consciousness, he shatters the windshield and begins climbing the mountain on foot. Hearing monstrous screeches, he realizes several Reapers are chasing him. Higher up, he finds himself trapped as another Reaper blocks his path. Surrounded, he fires all his bullets, but they have no effect. Accepting his fate, he braces for the end, when suddenly, a shot rings out. One of the Reapers explodes instantly. Nina has arrived. She successfully created the bullets just in time and now dispatches the creatures with ease. Together, they examine the remains and make a horrifying discovery. The monsters are not organic. They are programmed robots sent by aliens to cleanse the planet. Returning to camp, they hoist a victory flag, signaling to other survivors that they now have a weapon to fight back. Inspired, humanity begins mass-producing the bullets and forming combat squads. The tide turns as they reclaim their lands, destroying the Reapers one by one. The war against the Reapers is won, but Will and Nina know this is just the beginning. The true enemy, the alien invaders, is still on its way. So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.